Hello class. Today we're on lesson 5.6, simplifying rational expressions. So rational expressions, rational functions we've been working with, we're just going to be talking about simplifying them today. So we have three steps here, and the first step is we need to factor the numerator, or factor the top. The second step is factor the denominator, or factor the bottom, and then cancel like factors, and we'll have a simplified rational expression. So let's just get right into this. It's really not that bad. The hardest part is the factoring part. So that's what I imagine will take up most of the time here today. So let's go ahead and factor the top of this and factor the bottom of this and see what we can cancel out. So here, the top, I want to find two numbers that add to the middle term, but when I multiply them, I get the last term. So that's what we need to figure out here. So this value is -1, and this value is -6. So what I like doing is I like to create a factor tree of the number we're trying to multiply to, and that will give me the values that I'm looking for. So I'm going to do it down here. I have -6. And let's just think of the factors that make up positive 6 first. Let's just think about the absolute value of 6. So I know that 1 goes into 6, so 1 times 6. Then I go up. Okay, 2, does 2 go into it? Yes, it does. 2 times 3, and then does 3? Well, we already have 3 right there. So these are all the factors of 6. So knowing what I know about multiplying to a negative number, what do I need to, or what must be true about my two factors? And that is that one must be positive and one must be negative. Because think about it. If they're both positive, we're going to multiply to get a positive. If they're both negative, we're going to multiply to get both positive. Well, if they're both negative, we're going to multiply and they're going to become positive again. So I know that one of my factors must be negative and one must be positive. So, is there any combination of these two factors where I can make one of them negative and one of them positive, where they add up to -1? Because the little coefficient here is 1. It's not written, but right, when it's not written, it's 1. And that would be 2 and 3. And specifically, if 3 was negative. So -3 times 2 will give me that -6. -3 plus 2 is going to give me -1. So those are my values on top. So I'm going to put them into my factors. And it doesn't matter which one you put first. You could put 2 first or -3 first. So I'm going to put x plus 2, x minus 3. And then we need to factor the bottom. Well, let's see. Now I need to find two numbers that add to -2 and multiply to -3. Well, again, one factor is going to be positive, one's going to be negative, and 3 is really not that bad because there are only two factors of 3. It's prime, right? 1 and 3. But which one needs to be negative in order for it to add to -2? And that must be -3, right? -3 plus 1 is -2. So these are my two factors. So x plus 1 times x minus 3. And we just factored the top, and we just factored the bottom. So now we need to cancel like factors. And in all of these, we will have like factors to cancel. And if you notice, I have an x minus 3 on top and an x minus 3 on bottom. So those cancel. So what we're left with is just x plus 2 over x plus 1. And that's it. We've just simplified this rational expression. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So now we have x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x over x squared plus 6x plus 8. And again, we want to factor the top, factor the bottom, and then cancel like factors. So let's start with the top here. Now, here's something you'll notice about the top expression here in the numerator. Each factor has an x. So before we can do this method of seeing what numbers add to the middle one, multiply to the last one, we need to make sure it's x squared, x, and then a constant here. So let's go ahead and factor out an x, since every one of these has an x in it. So whenever you see an expression here where each term has an x, go ahead and factor the x out first. So we're going to have x times x squared plus 7x plus 10. Right? What I really did was I just I divided it all by x. So x cubed divided by x is x squared. 7x squared divided by x is just 7x. 10x divided by x is just 10. And then we have the bottom. The bottom doesn't all have x's, so let's just rewrite it so we have it. So now we can take a look at this inside part here and think about, okay, I need two numbers that add to 7 but multiply to 10. So I'm going to create a factor tree for 10 here. And 10's positive, which means either both factors are positive or both are negative. But since I know that I'm adding to a positive as well, both must be positive. If they're both negative, we would add to a negative number, right? So I know that they must be positive in this case. So let's see, 1 times 10, and does 2 go into 10? Yes, it does. 2 times 5, does 3? No. 4? No. 5? It'd be 5 and 2, but we already have that. Okay, so these are just the two factors of 10. Which one of these adds up to 7? Well, 1 plus 10 is 11. 2 plus 5 is 7. So these are the ones we want right here. So on the top, we're going to have x times x plus 2, x plus 5, and I could have written the 5 first. It doesn't matter which one you write first. Over, now let's factor the bottom. So now I need two numbers that add to 6 but multiply to 8. So again, I'm going to take my 8, the number I'm multiplying to, and look at the factors here. You might be able to do this in your head once we get comfortable enough, and you might already be comfortable enough. So let's see, 1 times 8, 2 goes into 8, so 2 times 4. And then does 3 go into it? No, 4 does, but we already have 2 times 4. So those are the two factors of 8, or the two sets of factors of 8. Which one of those adds up to 6? Well, that would be 2 and 4. So here I have x plus 2 times x plus 4. And we've completely factored the top and bottom. And as you can see, again, I have x plus 2's. So they cancel out. So what I'm left with here is x times x plus 5 over x plus 4. And let me just put a box around these so we can kind of see the answers a little better. There we go. Alright, and then the last one. So notice on this one, the bottom one has, the bottom expression has an x on every term. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the top here, but with the bottom. So let's just go ahead and rewrite this thing. The top, we can't factor out an x, so we'll just leave it as it is for now. X squared plus 6x minus 7 divided by, and we're going to take that x out, so x cubed divided by x is x squared. Negative 5x divided by x is minus 5x. And 4x divided by x is just 4. Awesome. So now we can start factoring using this method, right? The adding and multiplying method. So, or the product sum method, rather. So let's see here. I'm multiplying to negative 7, and I need to add to 6. So what two numbers do that? Now 7 is negative, which means one factor must be positive, one must be negative. And this is kind of nice. 7 only has one set of factors, it's prime. So 1 and 7. So which one of these must be negative in order to add up to positive 6? Well, the 1 must be negative, right? 7 minus 1 is 6. So on the top here, we're going to have x minus 1, x plus 7, divided by, and let's factor this inside portion now. I know I'm going to have an x out front because I already pulled that x out. So we need to add to negative 5 and multiply to positive 4. Now, what do we know about multiplying to positive numbers? Both factors must either be positive or both factors must either be negative. But since we are multiplying to a positive and adding to a negative, that means that both factors must be negative. If they're both positive, we'd be adding to a positive. So let's see, 4, we'll go through the factors. We have 1 and 4, and we have 2 and 2. And those are all the factors of 4. So let's see here. If both of these were negative, which ones add up to negative 5? Well, negative 1 and negative 4, if we were to add those together, negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. So those are the two numbers we want. So we're going to have x minus 1. Remember, they're both negative. And x minus 4. And you can see here that my x minus 1's cancel. So what I'm really left with here is x plus 7 over x times x minus 4. And that is my answer here. So that is simplifying rational expressions. That's all I have for y'all today. So you can get started on the worksheet and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.